Every time I press on her sole, there are little bubbles coming out of her hoof. In this video, we're going to find out where they're coming from. So in a rather weird way, believe it or not, the bubbles that you can see coming out of her white line are actually a good sign. But I'll get on to that in just a little while. This cow genuinely is the lamest cow that we saw on the day we trimmed her. But despite that fact, I actually think that just 1 or 2 days ago she was much more lame than she is today, and I'll also explain that in a little while. I believe this cow has already begun the healing process, although this trim is going to get much more graphic than it is right now. As I trim this cow, I actually have one of the girls who milks these cows just standing to my right hand side, desperately keen to figure out what on earth is making this cow so sore. Okay, so we all saw it. We all know that this is the area causing the pain for this little cow. What we don't know is though, how deep or how shallow this problem is. One thing's for certain though, we're all just about to find out.
I got a block, Kevin. A big wooden one, please.
This type of lameness is incidental. It's happened through an accident. She's perhaps been fighting with one of her work colleagues, or she stood on something she shouldn't have. Either way, it has come on very quickly. Earlier on, I said the hole in her hoof was actually a good sign. And what I meant was, it was a good sign because this has been an abscess site. Known as a fistula, that hole meant that there was no more abscess underneath, and that likely the pressure had been released over the last couple of days due to the guys who work at this farm being so good and treating her so quickly with the required medication. What you can see is nothing like the full extent of this problem, as we're all just about to find out. The medication has got her over the worst of it, but without the use of this block, being applied by Hoof Grip Pro of course, she would never make a full recovery. All that would happen would be she would start to go backwards. This hole would fill up with muck and slurry and therefore bacteria and begin to cause a secondary infection. A problem that would likely be much worse than this initial one. You've seen me trim some exceptionally graphic cow's feet, and many of the really bad ones have got toe necrosis, which is when the bone inside the hoof capsule itself becomes infected. It starts to decay, rot and break away. The interior of the hoof capsule is completely and utterly annihilated. Well, this is how a lot of those problems begin. A hole on the outer side of the hoof capsule allows bacteria inside. That bacteria breed and cause infection, and it all ends up culminating in toe necrosis. Happily though, that is not the case for this cow. We've got her at the right stage, and this problem, once we finish trimming her, should hopefully be fixed in just 1 or 2 simple trims. The blood you can see is from me attempting to separate the delaminated hoof horn from the corium, and at times it's still partially being attached. We need to get rid of all of this overburdening hoof horn, otherwise the exact scenario that I mentioned earlier, i.e. the slurry and muck and manure getting up underneath the hoof horn, will happen, and this cow's problems will be a whole lot more serious.
What's that Tuesday in a Saturday?
Tuesday and a Friday or a Saturday. It used to be 3 a week.
From this angle, as I watch this back editing it, it looks rough and ready. But once we clean it up and take a better view, I'm really happy with the result. We've removed as much of the detached hoof horn as we possibly can, and there is no place for a pocket of manure and therefore bacteria to harbour and cause further infection. It is slightly open though, so we wrap it with iodine and salicylic acid to make sure that dermatitis doesn't infect the area. Problems like this need revisited after 2 weeks, so that's exactly what we'll do.